Do you support work for welfare? Barack Obama has a long history of opposing work for welfare.
I was not a huge supporter of the federal plan that was signed in 1996.
On July 12th, Obama quietly ended work requirements for welfare.
Well, that is part of a new Romney campaign ad buy running in swing states like Ohio, Florida, and Virginia, among others. It comes as some political writers are starting to suggest that whether these ads that these ads are resonating with voters in some key battleground states. But are they true? Joining me now, Brad Blakeman, who's the former deputy assistant to President George W. Bush, and Mark Hanna, an aide to John Kerry and Barack Obama's presidential campaigns. Guys, welcome back. So this is getting more and more attention now. Mitt Romney does not seem to be prepared to abandon this line of attack, even though, Brad, PolitiFact has given this the pants on fire designation, and the Washington Post has given it 4 Pinocchios, saying that Barack Obama is not trying to strip the work requirement out of the welfare program. What say you?
Well, a lot of the attacks on these ads have been more not on substance, but on image, complaining that the president's image has been on the screen too long, or that somehow he's dividing the American people by the images that are superimposed on the copy. Well, let me say this: the ads are true. Barack Obama sought to strip the Clinton work requirement from welfare. And why is he doing it? Let's use our common sense. Because there is no more unemployment benefits. They've been extended the longest they have in history. And to make up for the checks that are going to stop, the president has now instituted a new policy where there is no work requirement for welfare. He's allowing states to waiver out of the work requirement, similar to what's been done with Obamacare. Over 3,000 waivers the president has granted, and picked and choose who's going to follow the law and who's not.
Mark, as I understand it, that when President Clinton reformed welfare and imposed more work requirements for folks to get it back in 1996, he said, look, there are some limitations. Now you can't get welfare forever. It can't be indefinite. You got to show that you're trying to get work, or that you have work, partial work, and so on. And what President Obama is doing is granting a waiver to states that allows them to change the rules of how their success under the program, their success in getting people to work, will be measured. The right says that's going to lead to more laxity when it comes to work, and the left says, actually, no, it's only going to help more families get jobs. What say you?
I say that, you could take Brad's word against independent fact checkers who have all said these ads are blatantly false. I think what Barack Obama is trying to do is give states flexibility to be able to apply for waivers. Now, these are Republican governors predominantly who are applying for these waivers. And Mitt Romney, back in 2005, when he was governor of my home state, back in Massachusetts, applied for a similar flexibility. So it seems very hypocritical for him to now come out and say these waivers are somehow hurting welfare to work programs, when the waiver that they're applying for has to show, each of these states have to show that by at least 20%, welfare recipients are going back into the workforce. And this is why the Barack Obama's policy is actually strengthening welfare to work provisions, not weakening it. Now, this is a major diversion because most of your viewers watching at home are concerned about their own employment prospects, the employment prospects of their kids who are maybe graduating from college, their spouse, their friends, their neighbors, not necessarily fixated as much as Mitt Romney is fixated on poor mothers and whether or not they're getting jobs. They want to know whether they themselves are going to be able to get jobs. And that's what Mitt Romney should be addressing if he wasn't so fixated on fighting the battles of the early 90s.
But it's Barack Obama who issued this executive order. Barack Obama did this. And so the question is really, what did he do? Is it as Romney claims, or is it not? And Brad, there was a question raised about, for example, the state of Nevada, which is one of the states that wants to discuss making its welfare system more flexible. They want one of these waivers, and they say that the families who are hardest to employ could perhaps be exempted from the work requirements for 6 months, while Nevada works with them to stabilize their family situation and get them better prepared to try to shoot for jobs. The other side says that's exactly what we're talking about, that they're now going to have 6 months where they don't have to try to get a job, where their welfare checks show up. But might that be a situation that is warranted, where the state works with them to stabilize their situation before wasting a bunch of time and effort?
Well, curious enough, Nevada is a battleground state, isn't it? and they're seeking to relax work requirements in order to keep people on the government payroll. They're not creating job opportunities for these people. They're creating the opportunity for them to stay idle for 6 months and escape the provision of trying to find a job. The government isn't interested in finding these people a job. If they were, then the president wouldn't be trying to relax the work requirement. He would be trying to enhance it. The problem with
Brad,
this
how can you be so cynical to say the government doesn't care about jobs?
Here's why I'm saying it.
You're saying this is an election year ploy for Nevada?
This president has ruled by fiat, by executive order, and is not
just
ruled
now
by
finding out we have a hard break
legislation.
in 5 seconds. That's not the way we like to end our segments. My apologies. We'll be right back.